Hello, this is Michael from Blue Gem Tarot. Today's episode, pick a card reading, is going to be called Exposing People's Innermost Feelings Towards You. This is going to be a timeless pick a card reading with 3 piles, just as usual. I thought that for this one, it would be fun to delve into feelings because, thoughts are one thing, but feelings are completely another one. And kind of both elements can come like unexpectedly or uncontrolled somehow. But yeah, I think that would be interesting to delve into, especially because I do have one that, like, I do have a reading exposing like thoughts. So you can link these two together, or maybe not, who knows really. But for this one, we do have as well, as usual, 3 piles. We have the first pile with blue leaves earring, second pile with diamond earring, and third pile with blue, dark blue agate, I guess, earring. Uh, I will delve into some aspects of like being deep, the reading being deep, grounding, relatable, also kind. Like I will be focusing or directing the reading in that fashion or that direction. And yeah, I think I covered everything for the introduction. Thank you so much for the ways in which you support my channel, regardless of them being like them ranging from likes to donations, and yeah, all and everything is being welcomed. um yeah, thank you so much. Like it means so much to have like your comforting comments there. It's something like out of this world for me. Okay, so let's begin with pile number one. Those of you who chose the blue leaves earring. Now, you will be finding the timestamps in the description section or the comment section, whatever is more like comfortable for you. Also, the link for the donations, if you want, will also be there or in the comments, like in the description or the comments. Um, yeah, I think that's all I covered. Also, a disclaimer not to take the readings mm, like if you don't agree with something in particular, that's completely fine. Maybe it doesn't resonate for you, it doesn't apply to your life, but yeah, that's completely natural to happen in the readings because it's a general one, and sometimes people just don't like the things they encounter, and that's completely fine. I think I'm saying that from the perspective of you not wasting time on the comments, like saying like, it didn't resonate. Though for the constructive criticism side of the things, you could be dropping some suggestions. That would be interesting, and I will think about implementing those as well. Okay, now let's begin the reading with pile number one. The central card you've got was the 10, which is Lu, or says in here conduct. I think I'm gonna be reading the text from the book, and I will be explaining the meaning to you in a short, or I'll be explaining it to you later, but still. The lake is deep and contained, its direction downward. Heaven is infinite and its direction upward. The two maintain a natural separation that is neither harmonious nor inharmonious. Thus, people who have no need to interact can go about their business by conducting themselves in a natural fashion. Do not create conflict where none exists. I think what's interesting about this text is the parallels in here from the two aspects. So it would be interesting to note about the feelings from the people in your surroundings, that people do perceive themselves as being separate from you in a way, or as if there would be distance in here. What's also interesting about the text in here is it highlights a separation that's neither harmonious or nor inharmonious. Um, it's still sort of a bridge or a gap that's being reached, or Yeah, it's as if, people do recognize the differences, but they cannot help it but have the feelings in this case. So that also points out to me that the most relationships and the most feelings that you will be getting on the spectrum from this pile and like from the people having feelings for you are going to be about some sort of kinship, friendship, connection, but these circumstances present to you like separation or present a gap between you and the people. This could be work related. This could this could be literally related to anything that like pertains itself to separation. Okay, the next card you got here would be the Muse. I'll start from it. This is going to be the one saying generosity and naivety. This reminds me of the Three of Cups. Generally speaking, this pile feels to me like the feelings of people around you would be of closeness or of wanting to be close to you. Because, thinking about the Three of Cups, this would be some sort of, people uniting in the feeling of celebration or having something similar. This is very interesting because it reminds me of the situations where, for example, at work you should be conducting yourself in a very, let's say, serious manner, but deep down people would be just like very happy to, or they would be having feelings of wanting to come closer and like basically break the barriers. But it's quite like impossible in here, especially because of the text I was highlighting there. This feels like literally water and oil, like the two don't mix. And this pile feels like the feelings of people are very, like, very much so focused on the connection or focused on wanting to come closer. But the circumstances like create this water and oil type of scenario where, you two don't mix. You also have in here Seeker of Boons, which would be the Page of Pentacles, and the Seven of uh, the Visions, I think. Yeah, because it's like heavily implied in here that this is a choice card. I feel like people do feel like a sort of a reminiscing bitterness because they cannot connect to you. And given the circumstance and the atmosphere of the reading and of these cards, it feels to me like the connection with you would be very like nurturing, comforting, and very abundant in a way. Um, Still, the Hermit, you do have in here this card, which is like, I don't know why specifically, but this pile feels like they would have too many boundaries, maybe. But yeah, I wanted to say like obstacles with boundaries was the thing that came through, which is quite curious. Three of Pentacles, or in this case, this would be the Three of Lockpicks. Um, Nine of Voice. Okay, now this is interesting. Like, for some reason, it just feels like people are very abundant in their feelings towards you, but there is like some sort of official or circumstance related distance, or there is like this harsh reality where it seems like there is no point or there would be no open space for you to be contacted. So I think that's what's going on in here with hidden feelings or exposing people's feelings. With the Three of Wands or the Three of Spells in here and the Three of Challenges, that would be like the Three of Swords. Three could be significant for this pile as well. Um, Wheel of Fortune in reverse, Five of Swords. It's like despite the best of efforts, still you are distant. Okay. It could be the case that also with the Chiromancer you are protected or you are heavily on your guard with people and generally how much exposure you get to them. But it feels like, Page of Wands, it could be that you do enjoy your own solitude or you do enjoy your own like inner world or you just prefer to be on your own for now at least. With the Three of Challenges, I want to say people do get a lot of like attachment or they get heavily attached to you. And with the Wheel of Fortune, it's like it's literally the feeling of them being attached to you, and then you are like disappearing or out of the radar. You somehow like with the Wheel of Fortune, it's like as if it would be like the best time for you to get closer, but the circumstances just like separate the two of you. And it could be that, this is like a decision of yours, or it's something that like it's as if the circumstances align with your desire to be alone. But people are generally so attached to you with this three of challenges. It's like when you're gone, when you're no longer there for some reason, or they're no longer capable of reaching out to you. There is a lot of disappointment, or there is a lot of upset going on in here. I feel like this pile is very orderly and again, very like used to some sort of routine or some sort of way in which everything is being controlled or is going, or it's just like there. Um, you're not like the most, let's say, social person. Maybe that will not resonate with everyone, but because of the hermit in here, but people are just waiting, like waiting and waiting and waiting some more for you to show up or maybe even show initiative. And this pile could be like, yeah, I've shown enough initiative, or like I'm not interested in that, or I'm not interested in that kind of level of, closeness. But yeah, it's like, first of all, you've got so many pages in here. I cannot believe it. Like as I'm looking at this reading, like you've got a page of air, that would be the swords, page of pentacles in reverse, page of wands in here, and page of fire, and page of water, okay? Like all of the pages are just here. To me, that's pretty fascinating. It's almost like you bring the best, or you bring up the most like innocent, playful parts in people. You awaken somehow their inner child in this case. It's like, you awaken people's innocence somehow, and yeah, it's like somehow this is related to some sort of feeling of wanting to live or wanting to be here. Um, it just makes me feel like this pile is awakening the best in people, and it could be that you are both awakening their inner aspects of innocence, childhood, and also the aspects that want them to participate in this life. With a chiromancer, I feel like this is not necessarily a conscious or a very like deliberate thing that you could be creating, but you're also awakening people. And when I say awakening, it's like different, like small or even big circumstances in which people like question the ways in which they go about creating their life. But still, you have to keep in mind with this pile that we do have in here the hermit. So it feels to me like you are deliberately placed in people's lives to fulfill a role or to play a temporary role. Um, you are meant to bring back like some people in here in balance, and instead they get attached to you. This is quite annoying because almost with the Five of Swords in here, this would mean that you've got even animosity or even like some sort of bitterness because you went away. But, there is upset in here. There is upset in here. There is like, how could you have gone? Like, how could you just leave? How is it possible that you showed so much and you're gone, you're going? Yeah, it's like that kind of thing. And even like the 10 in here from the center from the Book of Change shows like a flying bird. I feel like you are like a seasonal person in people's lives. So why there is like a feeling of longing and missing with this pile, this is very interesting. I love what I see, however, but still, um, you cannot also be bound. This pile feels like they cannot be bound, they cannot be restricted. Um, you're here and you're gone. Like that's the same message I was getting from other piles as well in the past. But there is a huge aspect of control in here with this page. It's the Ace of Wands. It's like, the action or the metaphor that's coming through from this reading is the one of the person who is like, there is the cake for the birthday, there is the candles, and you are the fire that ignites the thing. Like, the wish is being made and the fires is being like uh taken out, or like, yeah, literally, like, you are like a person who's meant to be like exciting, or who's meant to be like an excitement or an awakening or like a wake-up call for people. And once you're doing that, um, and your job is done, like the next thing or the next circumstances are playing into motion. I feel like you're like a very powerful influence in here with people, for people, because with the King of Pentacles in here, Nine of Pentacles reversed, the moon, it's like you leave an imprint, you leave a mark on people's lives. And with the King of Pentacles, it's like, let's do things, like let's reinvent ourselves, let's create something that's beneficial. As I'm looking at this like tree from the King of Pentacles, it's like the gears are back in motion, okay? And like you've done your job, and people just misplace the label, misplace the overall, like, what they should have done or what they should have expected from this relationship. But let me tell you something, every single page is a beginning. It feels to me like this pile is for some people an emotional beginning, and I see these people wanting to somehow reciprocate that energy. Like for some people, you are a fire beginning. That means like exploration and initiative or curiosity in here. Twice you've got the Page of Wands, so it could be like awakening people's like desire to move forward while still being in the Hermit, which is quite fascinating to me. This is the most like, the Hermit is being the most like solitary card for me, and for some reason you have such a powerful imprint in here on people while still being in that energy of the Hermit. The card in here which represents the Hermit is from a game as well. And this like dragon is a very wise character in game. It's a dragon that stands or lays on the top of a mountain, like the tallest mountain in the whole like region. I feel like this pile is carrying an imprint on a lot of people. I'm not sure if you realize this or not, but your like influence is reaching very far, and the feelings in here are being presented of awakening, of also what's quite like fascinating to me with this pile as well, Nine of Pentacles reversed. It's like people step out of their misery or their loneliness, and you like reach out to them in a way, and they not only like abandon their ways for you, but they do so even when you're gone. And thus we have the message of like, you have to be exposed, or you have to participate in as many people's lives as possible. But it's fascinating to me also because the pages represent children, and in this case, like, coming back to the aspect of you're like just walking in people's lives and awakening them on a very deep core level. And the ones who will get dashed, the ones who are going to get upset, that's not relevant. That's not very important. People will always get and, understand what they want to understand. But, it feels like you are, to be honest, it's like a bitter thing to get like that life lesson, like, out of everything that pile number one is capable of giving and is capable of creating in people's lives, to be left with bitterness, attachment, or a lonely like separation or like an upset would be quite sad or quite like misplaced in this context. um Yeah, it's a very like spring-like energy that's coming through from the reading. It's very also triggering. Your presence could be triggering because you uncover the deepest aspects of people, and you somehow awaken their like survival instincts for some reason. I don't know why this is the case. Still, it's like you are meant to awaken and to bring people into a more aligned state, or into a more mature, or into a more abundant state. But for some of them, this is going to, if the gap is being reached in like, if they're ready for it, they're going to be having like a more pleasant experience, let's say. Like it would be feeling like on like going on the next level or something like this. For others, however, this will feel like the three of challenges, the three of swords. This would feel very upsetting. This would feel like, you know, a chance from fate. And usually these would be the people who get the most attached, or these would be the people who get the most like clingy, or the most like, I found this and I want, you know, this to be like, I want this person to fill my void, something like this. So the ones who try to fill the void with you, with your presence, maybe they will achieve that, or they will have success in that, but temporarily, because I feel like, boy, this pile is not going to be in everyone's lives for very long. Um, and it's like almost your presence is meant to inspire, specifically inspire and plant the growth that's later on to be actualized and transferred into independence, into autonomy, and into people realizing that, you know, I can be prosperous and I can also be grateful and thankful for pile number one because they showed this to me. Okay, yeah, regardless of that, I think I mistook the Ace of Cups for the Page of Cups, but still the message is, it's very, I feel these messages, so I feel like there is a reason for that. From the aspect, maybe it should have been the case that it has to be in here, like also the aspect of the Page of Cups. So yeah, irrelevant, but still. Ace of Cups in here, I was wanting to cover that aspect. Your impact and the feelings that people have are very vulnerable, very strong, very emotional, very like, this would not even be like feelings which would be easily conceptualized, or, you know, um, people, when they get the feelings, when they feel for you, when they get the feeling imprints from you, they are so strong. This is insane. Like the Page of Cups in here, this is pure emotion. Like this is pure stuff, you know. Um, Interesting because we do have in here the Five of Swords twice, twice in the reading. Like, when did that happen? But the Moon as well. So what comes to mind with this pile is like a lot of past issues, stuff, projections, dark, just deep and dark stuff. Okay, people getting triggered for some reason, and you're like, I have no idea what's going on. Um, you're putting people face to face with their issues, with the stuff that's not working. Okay, we haven't here the Ten of Wands. It's also that this pile is very like keen and very smart, and also very like spot on with their observations. And it's the constant refinement, or the constant reframing, okay, with the Ace of Swords and Ace of Wands in here in reverse. You know, the feelings of people are sometimes very stubborn in this context as well. You know, I sense in here a lot of stubbornness. This is not coming necessarily from you. I want to like specifically be aiming that message at the people in here who are basically being read, and who are from your like presence or surroundings. The Ace of Wands in reverse, this would be like plans or stuff or directions or pre-established unconscious things that people want to direct the relationship, or to create the relationship with you with that direction or with that intent. It's almost like people see you, They catch you, they somehow want to, like, this is weird, but capture your energy. Like, I seen here also vampirism, and this is like a grasping feeling, again, this is, um, and it's also very survival oriented. Like, you awaken these very raw aspects in people, and you like somehow trigger that, and then you are giving them the substitute, or you're giving them the direction in this case, it's like also your presence is kind of bashing through these energies. Like, this is very funny because I see people just going home, thinking about the ways in which they're going to proceed, advance whatever, like make their plans, work through with you, and when they are face to face with you, everything is being thrown, everything is being abandoned, everything is being, like, the plan is being thrown out the window. And you present something that's very unpredictable. You present something that's so out of their own perception, it's basically throwing everything like out. Um, the feelings could be also kind of fuzzy. It could be romantic. It could be like almost I'm picking up on the energy that's um, this is not like, it could be passion, but more so I'm picking up on a romanticism, a romance, and almost like a feeling of childlike, romance where, when children love, they are very like pure and honest in their feelings. They're not quite spoiled necessarily by the survival aspect of the world yet. So it feels to me also with the three of challenges, like these are very pure feelings, but they're also kind of misplaced, because of the hermit in here, which is this dragon Parthenax, if I'm correct, but it's the dragon in here is it's dictating the rules. Okay, pile number one is dictating the rules. Their wisdom is dictating the rules. Um, there would be instances where also people would be coming to you and saying like, I know this, that, and whatever. You could be silent, and they would be like uncovering that your wisdom is deeper, or your perception is farther, or your understanding of things is deeper than they anticipated. What's funny about this, it's like people just coming through and jumping to conclusions, and with their feelings assessing the situation and calling it like, and that's all, like calling it the day. um this is very like kind of annoying, because people get this very automatic feeling set or impression of you, where they initially place labels, or they automatically place the direction in which things are going to be set in motion, or in the direction in which things will go. Okay, oh my god, this is so convoluted. And when you appear, when you are on the radar, everything is being reestablished. It's almost as if people from this pile surrounding you. What I meant to say was, they establish the rules of the game, but they do not ask you whether you are agreeing upon these rules and whether you are even wanting to play in the first place. I feel like this pile is divinely sent. Why I'm laughing is because literally people just place labels. People just and they do so in such an automatic way with this pile that it's hilarious. And the most painful part, this is going to be the people who thought that they're going to place labels, and at the end of the day, it did not work. You'll be finding people who will have huge, big, something regrets because what you brought or what you initiated in their lives was beyond pure compared to the things that they had in mind, or they planned on doing, or they planned on expanding with your involvement somehow, or like I seen here profiting of your energy. And also I will not overlook this aspect. Five of Swords twice into the reading. Five of Challenges. Oh, it's not the five, it's the Three of Challenges, Three of Swords. It's almost like I'm picking up on guilt in here. You will be having people who will understand clear as day that their intentions were not pure. They will understand that their intentions at the end of the day were to exploit you, and they will not only feel like fools, they will feel very guilty about it, and they will not be able to face it. They will not be able to take ownership of it, and unfortunately, at the end of the day, they are going to be blaming you for it, and they are going to be blaming you for the fact that, you tricked them, or they are not a bad person. You have set them up. And literally, this pile could be like clueless, and it wasn't the case. It's not true, you Um, it's fascinating. Like pile number three, it's fascinating how you basically you're like awakening the purest aspect of like the purest aspects in people, like, and the thank you at the end of the day could be like either non-existent, and it's not even necessary that you'd be asking for it or something, but at the end of the day you could be faced with a very strange mix of emotional reactions from people, them ranging from a fewer ones which would be very positive and very sincere, and quite a lot of them people like just being somehow scarred. But scarred, this would be how they would describe it. For you it would be something like a wake-up call, or something that should have been done. This pile is like the truth seekers or something like this, where, be honest with me if you want to interact in a relationship with me, or you won't face you won't stand, like, no, it's not you won't face, you won't stand manipulation, or indirect manipulation as well, and you would like most likely address it rather than let it slide like this and pretend like nothing is happening, and you will have mixed reactions, like, for sure. This pile feels like they would get very thankful impressions and feelings from people in general. But overall, the most like predominant aspect in here would be like, why did you awaken me? Something like this. And also, I want to stress on the aspect of how much gratitude universally you are being credited for, or you're given. Like, people just get this huge, huge feeling of gratitude. Almost like their higher selves would be having this gratitude when they would focus on you or your influence into their lives. It's like they would say, or they would feel like this should have happened. Like pile number one should have said that, should have awakened me, should have made me feel this way, should have opened my eyes. But this would not be without casualties or something like this. It's like you poor pile number one. Generally, this feels like a pile which would be a doctor who would be like eager to heal the person, but would be forced to basically make the patient admit that they're actually sick, and that there is no point in being delusional about it, and that you should be saving time for basically addressing the core thing. Okay. So I think that's all pile number one. Thank you so much for watching. That was a very refreshing pile, and that was also a very surprising thing I did with the channeling in here, specifically because I wasn't necessarily directing the energy. It just kind of went there, but I'm very pleased with what I saw in here. It was a very freeing message somehow, and a very somehow underrated message for some reason. Like, your influence being so underrated, where it's like you should have been given more credit. You should have been given more gratitude or thankfulness, or more just like gratitude for the things that you awakened in people, even though, in the short term is not going to be just like so like positive or whatever. I feel like in the long term, people would be like thinking about you as of a person who's very like on time, on purpose, like just like placed there, like just like people say, like, divinely sent. A person who's there, who's meant to fulfill a very noble purpose. And yeah, it's just like funny how you throw over and basically bash everything on the way of progress or something like this, or yeah. I think that's all, pile number one. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to comment below that you're pile number one if you want. If not, that's completely fine. Like the video, subscribe to my channel if you're not already. Make sure to check out the old videos as well. And if you want to donate, or if you consider donating, you can always check my comments or the description for the link there. Thanks for watching once again, and I hope to see you in the future readings. Take care. Hello, pile number two. Those of you who chose the diamond earring, this is going to be your reading. I will be starting just like with the pile number one with the text from the I Ching Oracle of the first card. For you, this is going to be 46. It says in here, pushing upward. Wind beneath the earth, energetic growth pushes upward. Um, Wind in this context symbolizes the life force of vegetation as it germinates, grows, pushes through the surface of the earth, and unfurls towards the heavens. All the conditions are favorable for rapid growth. All the any perceived obstacles are easily moved aside, for the power of expansion overcomes all obstruction now. Supreme success. With the innermost feelings for this reading, this will symbolize some sort of a catalyst that would be representing this pile. Very funny. Like, I wasn't even looking at the card, by the way, and I saw it in here, the catalyst in reverse. This is like such a synchronicity moment. I can't. With the expansion and growth in here, with the innermost feelings, it symbolizes people somehow changing and evolving their life. Their like your participation somehow like facilitating that growth, that change. From the cards in here, which is quite fascinating, I will say you have a lot of major arcanas, like quite a lot of them, by the way. You have Strength, Death, the Star, and other ones I also will be covering in here. The Emperor, the Strength in reverse, the Devil, the Hanged Man in reverse, and the Forest Lord again, the Emperor. The feelings that this pile evokes are very somehow solemn in a way, because you do have the Star in here. The Star makes me feel as though the feelings of the people around you would be as perceiving you or feeling for you this like it could be also popularity, but also reverence in some sort of way because of the Azura card, which is the Star. And the Death, it's almost like, and the Strength, it's like people feel a sort of maybe also intimidation from a strength that's coming through from like a very spiritual, or somehow it could be for some even psychological or both aspect, the feelings in here would be of very strong respect and a very strong feeling of, feeling of equals, or, just people not wanting to mess with you. But the Emperor in here is twice into the reading. So I feel like we're talking about like either two very strong male influences or two different ones. Or, oh my God, one, either it could be that both the cards represent a male figure, or that this could be two people or two men from different backgrounds, and one being relevant to the sign of like Leo in here, because this set of cards represents lions in here a lot. Yeah, just I noticed in here you also have the uh, Justice card, the World card, the Star in reverse again, and yeah, this is uh, the most abundant like a pile with major arcanas. I do sense in here from the central card the energy of drive, the energy of expansion, fire, and forward moving energy. That means the feelings related to you are somehow possibly related to projects or to forward movement. Or if this is work related or generally life context related, this is like a huge amount of fiery excitement out of what's to come or out of the idea of the future. With the strength card, what I'm channeling in here, it's almost like it's giving me the feeling of people wanting you to deem them worthy enough or strong enough for them to be a part of your life. And I must say, these are like hidden feelings, or like I'm exposing them to you. So, strength, this would be exposing, or this would be showing, or selectively, let's say, showing to you the most powerful aspects or the most fierce aspects of them, so that you would deem them as worthy. And what's funny in here also, because of the death and star, it could be that you have people in here who are strongly or physically powerful, whereas you could be like, let's say, more, let's say, spiritually or psychologically powerful, or both. It could be the case. But I do sense in here complementary energy, where you have some people backing you up or wanting to back you up because of the fact that you have this very noble or masterful aspect being completed in the spiritual aspect or the psychological, or for some of you, it could be two, one, or all of the three, which would be intellectual as well. I feel like also with the hidden feelings would be like caution in here, because we have the Queen of Swords in reverse. And if this is related to you being interested in how the people are feeling and watching, and how the men specifically are watching you, this would be careful examination or careful, like being very cautious, because they have to somehow melt your heart for some reason. I don't know, like the Queen of Swords being here, the huntsman, is like you get the feeling as though you meet people when they are in this like huntsman attitude or even huntsman mentality, where they are wanting to hunt or gather things or even win you over. But when they face you, it's you're a different target for them. This is very funny. This pile meets people equally. It is not the case where, people would be undermining you, or even if they would try to do that, very easily it would sooner or later come to the surface, the fact that, you're not to be messed with. I feel like this pile, the feelings you get are very closely related to them wanting to be in good terms with you. And both aspects are going on in here. I feel like you're a very interesting person for people. You are a very unique set of qualities, and you are a very defined personality, so much so that makes people want to be close to you. And it's almost like with the catalyst in here being in reverse, they can feel and understand the depth of yours, and they understand that, you should be a part of their team. Mm, it's a very like long-term energy I feel in here, or I can read. But it's also an energy with the death card being in here, which says, this pile should be watched, this pile should be observed, because they could be they could easily like leave the place, they could easily basically disappear. and we should be the ones to basically create like a good impression so that they can come back to us and basically call us their friends, something like this. um, Careful, because you do have in here with the devil, and this is like the most interesting. I hate this word. I've said it so many times. This is the most intriguing combination of all. The devil in here. The devil in here signifies a deity from the game that I remember was even playing along or even was trying to cooperate with the player. And that's in and of itself the most interesting aspect. Why? Because um, you have people who generally are very good at schemes. You have people who are like around you who are very easily interested or very easily going susceptible to using manipulation or forceful manipulation and indirect or passive aggression, whatever. Whereas in your case, they're not so eager to do that. So yeah, with the devil in here, it's like they recognize that if you're going to be faced with that kind of behavior from them, there would be consequences, and you are going to see everything, you're going to understand, and you're going to basically not be very happy about it. And they're very afraid of your disappointment, upset. They're very afraid of you exposing them somehow. And it's like, people just understand that they could manipulate you, but the price would be too high in here. The hangman in here, for some reason, I feel like you make people feel very vulnerable when you look at them, especially from the gaze in which the devil is being presented in here. You could watch people and expose them to their core just by throwing a glance over them or something like this. And you've got like a range of people. Like you have very honorable characters in here who are like, yeah, this person is very valuable. And you also have in here some schemy, negative people who look at you and say, I don't feel comfortable with their gaze. I don't feel comfortable with them understanding and seeing everything about me that I would rather conceal and I would rather hide away, or really like, yeah, just conceal. And the cooperation or the benefit of cooperation is so high with you that even the manipulation would be not worth it. Okay, there is like reevaluation in here. There is like, maybe I should cooperate with them. And there is like a feeling of excitement for the future. I was reading and the fire thing, or what is going to be possible to realize with them. Um, the painter, productivity and creation, but it's in reverse. And the catalyst, radical change, taking control, in reverse. Yeah, it's funny because, oh God, literally it feels like this pile, they can feel your somehow majesty. I don't know, it's just like so funny. Like it's coming through from this diamond thing, but it's just like the radiance of this pile. Even though they might not be in control, their authority is being felt on us on such a huge subtle level. Like when you enter into the room or something, this is so funny. Like I can't believe I'm reading this, but it's like your energy in here. And the huntsman, you have people just being very honest with you, just being very, let's say, direct, and very like, look at me, I'm good. Like, look at me, I'm straightforward. Look at me, I'm actually interested in cooperation, and I want to be your friend. And I want to say the male aspect in here, whoever this might be, is coming through as very, very like mature or defined in a way where they would want to contain you, and they wouldn't be forceful. They wouldn't be like taking over how the emperor does usually with the control thing or aspect in here. It's like, be a part of our team. And you have like a lot of male attention in here. It feels to me like this reading is representing the female aspect for some reason. It's completely fine. My readings are not gender specific, but this is like an energy thing I just have to mention in here. But it's fascinating how you could be bringing that male energy, and if you're a male and you could be reversing these roles. But I want to say there is a lot of attention that's being placed upon you, and there is a lot of desire for your containment in this case. Um, if this would be about female, this could be a lot of attention, and this could be a lot of recognition of your worth in this context. But the feelings are about, in this case, about wanting to meet you at a common, neutral, or even very fair ground, because this pile is or has to be approached in a very honorable demeanor or way, with the not only because it feels like karma will get people if they do otherwise, but also because with this justice card, you could see through things and it could make them feel very like uncomfortable. With the world card, especially with this representation, this is talking about like some sort of happily ever after and the ace of fire. So it's like people just wanting to fight over you. That's very interesting. Um, the chariot in reverse, though it could be that, people just generally question or they really weigh the ways in which they are going to approach you, and they are understanding that they should be building a long-term thing with you and not just jump into the whole thing, whatever. um, this is like a very careful approach. This is like a very, let's say, almost like Four of Pentacles. um, there is a feeling of or an understanding. It's coupled with a feeling because of the title, but still you cannot be captured. You cannot be forcefully brought into the friends list. You cannot be forcefully loved or loved into staying. And it's like people, like the honorable ones, would like to show the best aspects of them, which come to them quite naturally. King of Swords. It's almost like you could be even inaccessible. You have King and Queen of Swords in here. It's quite interesting. Again, um, there is like some sort of frustration I'm also picking up on, because people feel like, when they want something and when they feel like it's theirs, that's very weird, of course, as a definition, but they feel like they're entitled to have it. And in your case, you're not going to be their prize. You're not going to be chosen by them unless you choose them in return. But this pile is not like interested. I feel like you're not interested in that for some reason. You know, from the star range and the devil, which seems to me like, I know these are different Daedric princesses, prince, whatever, from the game, because they represent deities, but they look kind of like with the same bluey type of hue of the skin, which makes me think that people could be both leaning towards finding you as being the star, and sometimes leaning towards being the devil, and in the most exalted forms. Meaning that it could be people feel very much so that you are like a mastermind of swords, or you are ahead of the game. And with the star in here, you play like, it feels like it's a very pure combination, like the star and the devil. I know the purity aspect is not being necessarily shown in here from another card, but I feel like the Azura was a very fair god. And she was like, okay, never mind. Like, I'm not gonna be delving into the aspects of necessarily the deity itself, but I feel like, this is like a celestial, almost like a pure godly energy. This is like it's coming through, and people want to match that. They can, or they would like to match that as far as they can, or as far as it's available to them. Okay. And what's funny, I was wanting to get to that message as well. The strength in here is in reverse. People do have a weakness for you, of swords, because this card is in reverse. And with the chariot in here, the star in reverse, there is like disparity, or lack mentality when it comes to there is like wanting to be with you, but again, distance or you not choosing them, and almost like there is like a feeling of exposure or like deliberate exposure from people who want to be noticed by you with the Emperor in here. And with the Four of Pentacles, even you will have people who will be very smart in that way. They will understand that you're not wanting to basically choose whoever this is going to be, and that you're very calculated in your moves. And they will deliberately play like they are not bothered. They will play, or they will pretend like, they're not interested or something like this, while still placing themselves in situations and exposing themselves as being very honorable. This is the Four of Pentacles. Like, these are not going to be the people, like, not even like you care about this, or not, it's not as if you care about this at all. But with the Four of Pentacles, there will be people who will pretend as though they don't feel anything when you're going to be in the same room as them, you are going to be seeing so many displays of whatever. Well, it's gonna feel as though, you are like an unwilling participant at some sort of act or play, whatever. Like, this is just, it makes me laugh because I can see so many male figures in here for this pile, and especially with the representations in here being very like masculine somehow. And especially this one, which was close to the Strength card, you will have one male figure that will behave in a very boastful way, but somehow like deep down they're quite like interested in showing off. And yeah, it will feel very like somehow even annoying, or it will also feel as though you are like an like a, as I said, the scale where it would feel like you are a person who's more spiritually or psychologically gifted, and they are going to feel more materially, like not even materially, but like physical, like very brute force kind of energy. And yeah, this is going to come off as like very like, what am I supposed to do with that person? I don't need them, I don't want to be around them, whatever. And from the feeling side, I want to say you've got a lot of people wanting to display, show, and almost indirectly show themselves, because it would feel as though you'd pick up on that energy and say like, I caught you. That's exactly the type. And they can understand that you're very smart in the ways in which you behave, with a star in here as well. Like, I see, I feel, and I understand everything. And as I said previously, people will be forced into the idea that they should be playing fair, or they should be showing themselves in a very fair way. Otherwise, it will be quite apparent, and it's going to be quite embarrassing for them. With the feelings, I will not forget the aspect of, if people feel as though they are on, you chose them and they are on your side, they feel like with the with the Ace of Wands, that they have won like they have won some sort of a lottery or something, or it would feel as though there is a lot of excitement that's going to happen as a result of having you in their life. And that is coming through also from these like almost gatekeeping cards in this context, where it was pile number two has to be won over, or has to be very carefully approached, or if the test is failed, then it's game over. And it could be that people also feel that you're kind of unapproachable, but you have this defense for very good, somehow like very good reasons. And like, you don't want to play with the wrong people. Like, you don't want to almost like participate in senseless activities or things that are very petty in general. Like, this pile was meant to do some great stuff, and people around you could feel this very well. And it's as though, they are fighting to basically or to basically be part of your team, or for you to choose so as for them to be a part of your team here. This is also giving me power couple, power team thing. And it's very also Nine of Pentacles. That's also the case where it feels like you are very independent, you are very abundant on your own, and you don't need anyone or anything, or yeah, whatever. But also with the catalyst thing I was talking about, or progression from the center card, it would be like, wouldn't it be great to share, like for us to share our abundance and for pile number two to share theirs? So yeah, it's almost like a mutually beneficial contract of sorts, or a mutually beneficial exchange. Yeah, it's a very honorable, like character-driven display in here of stuff. But notice how also you will have people with their feelings being so vulnerable that they're going to build or create or act or imitate stuff that's not even like necessarily real, just so to win your favor or something like this. Though this is going to feel very childish to you, or this is going to feel like a pointless endeavor, because you can see people and understand them really well. There is also a feeling with this Knight of Swords, sorry, that they are ready to launch forward, they are ready to move forward, they are ready to show up at their door, at your doorstep or something like this, but almost like always only in their wildest dreams or something related to that message. There is a lot of fantasy, there is a lot of also daydreaming, there is a lot of like what ifs in here with this world card, because counting on the fact that this is like a happily ever after, this could be that people fantasize a lot. They can envision stuff, and they can almost like place you on like a visual or imaginary like dream board or vision board, these things that you would like aim for, or the stuff that you want, and you place them on this board, and basically like them wanting to win you like a trophy or something like this. Though it's very interesting how this pile cannot be won like a trophy and kept or behaved with like an object, because very easily that's the sure way to lose you. But it's like a very careful approach in here, not gonna lie. And the facade somehow, or not even like the facade, it's like the front, you know, the front side, or the image or the front. Okay, I don't think I have like the word necessary for what I wanted to say, but it's this pile feels like someone you'd have to prove yourself to in order for you to open up fully. And I can very much so understand that, because I can resonate with it as well. But once you're on board, then it's basically like a whole new level of the game. It's this is not a rescuer energy, so people, or specifically in here men who are interested in that kind of spectrum, are not looking at you in the guise or in the ways of you being a damsel in distress. Not quite. This is like a meeting of equals in here, and a very honorable like energy that's coming through, as though people would be addressing to you in a very like respectful manner. And even like, man, this is not like you would attract some people like on the side of being interested in relationships where people would be meeting you at like the same level, and not on the level where you'd feel inferior or something like this. No, people can very much so understand your value, pile number two. So yeah, it's a very unique thing to see, and you're very like somehow gifted and like adorned with a huge list of qualities that would be very valuable, or very like a 10 for people. um, and this pile is not desperate, and also this pile is not interested in displaying, talking, or in not necessarily even like expressing how much they are worth. It's very apparent, it's very straightforward somehow. It's in your presence, and you just like express into this life, not almost not with the purpose of wanting to attract, or not wanting to even like prove anything to anyone. This pile is like very majestic on that side, and also in many sides, but specifically for this reading, it's making you very attractive. It's very because you are confident in your own expression. You're very confident and self-assured or self-sufficient in this context, okay? And very fierce, like, this pile doesn't feel, or people understand it very much so on a felt level, that you don't need a person or a relationship, or there is no such thing as completing oneself. This is an energy of you meeting a person and they are lucky to have you. Or this is a wonder to have you in your life. It's like a wonder, it's like a bonus of sorts. It's something that you shouldn't miss out on. And it's definitely like an energy, like, let's be friends, like, to just share spaces, because that would be wonderful, that would be nice, that would be something I really look forward to. So yeah, this is by far very, like, honest, straightforward. I don't need anyone or anything to be happy energy, and non, like, vampiric or something like this, and very, like, honorable in a sense, okay? So yeah, I think that's all pile number one. That was a very intricate reading. Thanks for watching. Make sure to check out other readings on the channel. You might resonate with them as well. I've got some awesome topics there. Like the video, comment below if you're pile number two, and subscribe to my channel if you're not already. If you want to donate and support me, you could do that by accessing the link in the comments or the description section. If not, that's completely fine. I think that's all. Take care, and I hope to see you in the future readings. Hello, pile number three. Those of you who chose the dark blue earring, this is going to be a reading. I will start as usual from the I Ching Oracle card from the center. You have 45. It says in here, the lake upon the earth, the vessel of the community. Already I can pick up on the aspect of the community and the networking thing. I'll get back to it in a minute. Water running freely over the earth does not attain the depth of the lake with its constraints. In the same way, people are stronger when they are gathered together with the vessel of community. A shared history adds depth to the connection, and they are unified through the honoring of ancestors and traditions. Such a spiritual life cannot be easily dissolved. Yeah, something about belonging, feelings of belonging with this pile, something about the aspect of unity, togetherness, community, and like a leader of sorts, or you being set as an example in here. Quite interesting, to be honest. Like, in and of itself, the idea of gathering together, I feel like there is like a strong feeling of gratitude for the unity or for the aspect of togetherness that you have introduced into the community or into the whole community dynamic in which you are placed in. You have the priest and the thief both in the reverse. Now, this is quite fascinating to me because I was picking up on an energy of an indirect leader or an indirect person who doesn't necessarily fit the official criteria. Like, the cases in history where a person became a leader, but they were not necessarily from royal lineage or something like this. Well, there is something very similar about the energy from pile number three. People feeling very blessed and grateful and honored to be guided and to be directed, and for you to be called their leader, even though somehow you don't have to be one or something like this. The priest is in here, so it's like, generally you would find the people who would be the most wise, like, for example, being priests or something like this. Well, it feels to me like this pile could be almost like, it's very funny. Like, I want to even say this. You don't necessarily fit the criteria to be like a priest or something like this, but you have the wisdom of one, for example. Or with the thief in the reverse, there is something about selflessness in here, and the idea of you shouldn't have given, or you shouldn't be, or you shouldn't like you don't win anything out of giving it, out of giving attention, out of giving insight, out of giving your advice or even your guidance, but you're still there and you're like flourishing and whatever. Like it's very funny. 10 of spells in reverse, 6 of spells in reverse. Yeah, it's something about selflessness in here, like fascinating, to be honest. Something about people being very fascinated by the idea of the fact that you don't have a self-serving motive, but you're doing something that's very much appreciated, and they're wondering like, why are you doing this? Okay. Um, it's very strange because usually people encounter a very like narrow-minded mindset when it comes to the people who are leading. With this pile, it feels like they are selflessly leading or selflessly aiding others. It's almost coming through as to your own detriment or something like this, though it doesn't have to be. It's or it could relate to the fact that you are giving beyond your reach or beyond your capability, or that you're very willing and attentive to people and very attentive to aiding them. With the stars in here, you have a lot of admiration, people looking forward to you. You have a lot of, let's say, inspiration that's being like infused in people as a result of their interaction with you. And there is also, not gonna lie, a very strong pull towards you, though it's a very understanding feeling. And you being like the forbidden fruit or something like this in this context, because um, you see this child like reaching out for some like house of biscuits or sweets, whatever. It's like almost like very tempting somehow, like pile number 3 as being very tempting. But there is also a very strong understanding that there is too much at stake, or yeah, there is like this isn't amazing. Like I can't believe this. There is something linked to the idea of you being exposed to the world. And at the same time, that idea comes with a lot of gratitude, recognition, and status. But at the same time, that exposure comes with like some sort of negative, or let's say people wanting to come closer, even though you have boundaries, or even though that wouldn't be quite like the perfect, let's say, context for that. Um, you have the magician in here, and again, it's in reverse. It's almost like people feel very honored, or they do not understand why you're so giving in your energy, and they can also pick up on the fact that, if there would be another person in your shoes, they would most likely use that power against the world, or they would use it to their own benefit, but you're not like this. And there is like a whole like dimension of fear in here that's coming through also for some reason, because people are afraid that you're going to go, or that you're going to be gone, or that you're very unpredictable, but in a very positive way. It's like almost giving me a too good to be true type of a scenario, or people just being very wishy-washy, or really thinking about the future and understanding or thinking that you're no longer going to be there. Um, this pile is very resourceful in a way. This pile is very with their people in a way, almost like people feel this gratitude with the 5 of Pentacles, that you're not going to leave them out in the cold. But also because we haven't here twice into the reading the Fool, it could be relating to the fact that they see you as a very good person, and also an idealistic person. And what's interesting about this, that it specifically doesn't play itself out as being the Fool card in the naivety sense, because you haven't here the Empress. So it's almost like you are backed up by the universe, or by some sort of force that's driving you, and that's placing you in the most proper and most um yeah, it's the most proper circumstances that benefit and that show your grace to the world. That's very wonderful in here. With the Wheel of Fortune in reverse, there is like some sort of accumulation that's going on that's very strange somehow. It's almost like the more this pile is giving to the world, the more like there is like accumulation of swords that's going on in the shadows, and accumulation in a positive sense. Like this is very strange because I'm mentioning it in such a context, and why? Because the mentality that's going on into this world for majority of the times, unfortunately, though maybe there are exceptions. People do stuff because they want to achieve something, or they want to accept something in return, or they want to have some sort of benefit out of it. Well, with the Wheel of Fortune, this is not like I'll do it because I'll help someone else because, I'll have something good out of it. No. This pile somehow feels deliberate in their generosity, and it's almost coming through from some people as even like foolishness, or people like not understanding why you're doing this, or people saying, they're too good, they're going to be profited off of. But what's interesting in here is the next card is the Empress, okay? You are blessed, you are receiving stuff, or receiving like confirmation, abundance from unexpected places, and these people are all like, it doesn't make sense. They are very open to this world, and they remain so unscathed by it, and everything that's good seems to be like coming in contact with them, and they are flourishing. They're like, it's like the most fortunate way of saying, being open and having an open heart with this world, while still retaining, and while still being able to sustain oneself, and not being afraid for the day of tomorrow, okay? People wonder what's going on, how are you even functioning, or something like this. They wonder about your lifestyle, or something like related to that style of thinking. And there is a lot of framed, like somehow like framed, or very complex but very predictable mind frames of thoughts that are being filtered through with this pile because of the Lovers in reverse. It's like people, when they see you, they expect to be somehow judging you with your by your status. Like, for example, if you are wealthy or not, if you're single or not, if you have a house, if you're not having a house, something like this. And at the end of the day, everything crumbles, and they are faced with the possibility that they didn't understand who you were from the start. And it's quite making them actually nervous, because it's throwing them off balance. It's throwing them out of their own understanding, and they start to question, did I really understand this person? Am I really right to judge people in such labels, or something like this? Well, there is a lot of gratitude, and there is a lot of like fascination with the evergreen, or the ever blooming aspect of your, like that's coming through from your soul, or something like this. So Three of Swords in here in reverse twice. That's interesting. You could be a healing presence in people's lives, and they are like almost on the edge of not telling you everything. With the Two of Swords, it's almost like people have a before and after when they talk to you. It's you've got a lot of people who are generally, or uh, let's say, very merciless and very crude and brutal with people. Well, with you, it feels like they've got a person they could even like maybe consider opening up to. But there is like with the Six of Cups, like it's a very like, I'm not sure, like, should I or shouldn't I. This is a very convoluted way somehow. It's a very, let's say, yeah, people questioning themselves, questioning, and basically, it's just fascinating. This pile has an almost like a very pervading, deep influence over the people that they come in contact with, and very raw energies with the transformation in reverse. Um, I got in here the channeling of some sort of, could I be your friend? Would you choose me? Would you care to be my friend? Like, it's very strange, but it's something that's going through. For some reason, I do have in here like a reference of sorts where people are waiting for your presence, people are waiting for your guiding word, people are waiting for your present moment. Somehow, like, I don't know, even they're waiting for you to show up and like give something to them, or maybe they're waiting for you to just like give them your attention or something like this. It's just like people are so like on the schedule, like somehow wanting to see you or to look forward to you, or there is like some sort of predictability, like, you know, I will see pile number 3 today at this hour or something like this. I get this very intense feeling of wanting people wanting to open up to you. That's Six of Cups in here. Even though there are burdens, even though there is like the ego aspect of just people just holding back, but I see in here a tremendous aspect of just people wanting to open up to you, just being on the brink of it. You know, it's almost like with this tempting aspect I was talking about in the child of boons, I guess. I don't know, I don't even remember, but it's like very tempting to just like reveal the whole soul or the naked soul to pile number 3, something like this. And something along the lines of divinely spoken or divinely channeled or divinely sent also relates to pile number 3, like people not believing their eyes when they see you or they see your influence, because this feels like a moment where you would say, God sent this person to me, or this person is so selfless. It's like a miracle of sorts, because there is no doubt like what they bring to the table. It's genuine. Like what they bring to the table is so irreplaceable. It's so unique. It's so, you don't find this every day. And yeah, you've got quite the impact in here, I want to say. There is also admiration. I think I already mentioned on that, but it's something along the lines of an admiration that's pertaining to your design. It's what fascinates me about the whole idea. I really wish I don't forget it. It's the whole design, or the usual design of what people encounter in their lives is people, or are people who are more likely to be, let's say, selfish, or you've got this like whole, like people with whole dimensions of character that are meant to push and that are meant to hide away or conceal aspects of others, so that they're not revealed, or so that they could be closing themselves into loneliness even more. Well, with this pilot feels like your design is intricately like positive, or it's as if like if we were to analyze or to look at the layers of your personality, we would find some very beautiful things. And the whole layer cake is not containing like trauma or something. It could be, people, it's natural to encounter stuff that would be not necessarily like fully emotionally integrated or something like this, but in your case we would find a lot of virtue in your layer cake or something like this. And there is a lot of goodwill, I want to say, with the star, with the empress, with the generosity aspect I was mentioning in there. It's like you've got some people like heavily thinking about you, feeling for you, like people just thinking about you as a reference of a good person. And something about your intentions being very pure, something very light, like very positive, well-being, like oriented towards the community, towards the person, towards the people around, and it's very interesting how you're not getting paid for that, and I sense in here a discrepancy of sorts where, people are thinking that, you're not getting paid for that, you're not necessarily having a self-driven motive in that context, but you're still out there with the full, like with a full 100, 1000% presence there. Okay, of course it's very surprising and fascinating for them, and it also doesn't kind of make sense for some reason, but for you it's a whole different thing. It's like you would perceive that as like a passion thing, or being very passionate or mission driven towards achieving what you want to achieve, or it's as though you feel very content, or you have a great amount of contentment out of doing the helping thing that you do. And it is not something that people understand. Okay, just people look at you and see someone who's helping others, but they don't understand why you're doing this, and they cannot have the full grasp or the full understanding of what's going on. But let me tell you, there is like with the stars in here, there is like a huge aspect of just out of this world, out of this, like this person was sent for me. I met this person because God wanted to speak to me with that person, through that person, you know. And also there is like a whole new dimension I'm sensing of mystery, and like people think that you are not who you claim to be, but in the positive sense, because of the Two of Swords, you know. And I would see you as a very open person. Like I wouldn't see you as having like barriers, or I wouldn't see you as having like issues with people in general, asking you questions. Like you'd be very open and very direct with your whole display of qualities. But people think that there is more to it, or that you're hiding something, like you're hiding more virtue or something. Like, I don't know. With the Queen of Swords in here, however, it's you've got in here also some people who are very afraid of the fact that maybe, you know, you should be guarded, maybe you should be um, kept on the radar or something like this, for you to not be hurt, or for your generosity to not be profited off of. But people just get this very puzzling confusion feeling, like they don't understand who you are, how you function, and why you're doing the things that you're doing. Okay, yeah, this seems to be a very, like, it's a very a reoccurring message that's going on with this pile. I also sense in here curiosity. I also sense in here hesitation or interest, like what's the next thing, what's the next project, what's the like what's the ultimate goal this pile is aiming for, like what is the next step. Yeah, with a star, however, like I don't know, it feels like there is no mystery, like there is no mystery in the logic or the thing of how pile number three is functioning, but people just want to create it. Like people want to create this whole thing, like, you know, pile number three is up to something greater or something like this, where it's very simple. Actually, it's not very like convoluted or something. um the priest says in here the um well, it says perseverance, faith, and the thief says seizing the moment, selfishness, selfishness. Oh my God. Yeah, and both are in reverse. Uh, it's very puzzling to me also why we got there an aspect like, you know, a sort of a doctor who isn't a doctor, you know, a sort of a coach who doesn't have the studies, a psychologist who doesn't have the studies, but who's doing so well. It's as if they have like a degree that's like a high tier or something like this. And something about you bringing value to people, and it should have been priced bigger, but because you're so focused on the impact, like, you know, you're interested in people like doing well or something like this. um yeah, there is strong spiritual influences in here. Magician, the star, the wheel of fortune in reverse, the stars especially, like that's out of this world type of energy. Almost like you're inspiring yourself from some sort of source, from God, from the universe, from a divine aspect, something like this. It could be the case, by the way, but like it's giving me people would rather like if people were to be in your position, they would be most likely maxing out the profits and not care as much of for the people. And for you it's bigger than that, you know. It could be the case that pile number three also is thinking about themselves, but they're thinking about themselves in the ways that, you know, if I'm happy, then I could bring that happiness to others. And if I'm happy, then I could offer that to other people as well. It's a very like you're thinking about the magnitude of the impact that you're going to be having over people, and not as much for the result, and not as much for the immediate profit that you're going to receive out of it. And the surprise is going to be about, the most surprising thing about this pile is going to be abundance from very different levels of spheres of life, but you're not going to be surprised by it, or you're not going to be even taken back by it. Or it's like, some people aim for abundance or for power or for popularity, for example, and when they reach milestones, they're like, so, I don't know, excitedly desperate because they invested so much effort in doing that thing or in aiming for that thing. Well, for you, it's going to feel like, it's like a bonus. My aim was to be alongside my people all along, and reaching a milestone of that sort, it's only a confirmation that it's working, and that I'm being like supported in that way. So it's literally the same energy that I'm reading on with this pile. And it's very also strange, and this would play out as a resonance part for your past. It would feel as though the world and the people who you were around were completely conditional, were completely not like you, were completely almost like, for some of you, even the opposite. It wouldn't even make sense on an universal like scale, or an universal like assessment of sorts, where it would feel like as though, you have the life of pile number three, and it would make sense that they would be like this, or it would make sense that they would, for example, fight for their life or something like this. Whereas in reality, your circumstances, your past, your conjunction of events that formed you completely in the right way. Like, it's almost like usually people encounter negativity, and they kind of become that. They don't have the possibility to dissect and be something else, because they assimilated the example that they were like treated by. And in this case, no, this pile had a different mindset. It's people feel like there it doesn't make sense, it puzzles them that you went through so much like harshness, but you chose to think that people deserved the opposite of what you were treated. So yeah, it's very unexpected in here, I want to say. And it doesn't make logical sense to people. And in the greater scheme of stuff, if like a team of people, like a psychology team, or like a people who would be like examining your life, they would say, they would place their bets and say like, this person is going to become like this. In your case, you thrown off the whole thing. mm, you were functioning somehow out of the pattern that you were pre-established to function in. So it's this pile has built their own rules, or is functioning by their own rules, and not the ones that were imposed upon them. And almost you have the support, or the whole, yeah, you have the whole support of the universe for that. And it will not make sense. You'll have a lot of circumstances, again, like this one, you shouldn't have survived, or people being afraid for your safety or something like this, but you're like, no, it's not the case. Yeah, definitely, like, I'm safer than ever, um just like a sort of advice for this pile, or a sort of direction that's coming through. Keep on helping yourself and helping others. Keep on aiming for the stars. This is going to be the case for this pile. Like, keep on aiming for the stars, because if you can aim for the stars, and if you can um, win the stars, if you can take these stars like into your account, then you're going to be able to give these to your people or something like this. Well, in a less convoluted way, this is going to be like, be happy, because you can make your people also happy, and keep on living with the same type of attitude for the best and for the greater. If it could even be that this pile is aiming for like a God connection, or maybe connection with the divine, or like a sync, like a sort of a synchronization with the divine aspect, that's wonderfully being applauded into the reading. And also like understand that you're making a lot of people very happy, and that you've got a lot of things ahead of you that are going to be very surprising. Like it will not make sense. Like people will chart your history, they will chart your whole upbringing, childhood, from like the moments you lived, and it will not, like from the moments of your birth till now, and it will not make sense. It will not make sense because the trajectory is going to be very chaotic. It will not have like a defined pattern. It will be like, a whole chaos of, or a mix of things, which will all benefit towards your identity being polished and refined. It will not make sense. Like be prepared for that, but in a good way, because you're going to be throwing some people off of their like pre-established like norms, or things that they think like, if you want to be happy, you should be doing that. If you want to be wealthy, you should be doing that. And then you show up, and you give the example of what's possible. And yeah, you inspire a lot of positivity. The feelings in here are on a very like refined positive spectrum. These would be the feelings that you would encounter, like people like watching a sky, people watching the sunset. These are very like, I'm grateful for that experience. I'm very happy for that experience. I'm feeling very fulfilled by the fact that I was chosen to be having like that experience in the first place. So yeah, I think that's all pile number three. That was a very exciting and unexpected reading for me, to be honest, because every time I read something like this, unexpected like this comes up, and I'm like, yeah, no one reading is similar to another. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please don't forget to like, comment below that you're pile number three, and subscribe to my channel. Make sure to check out my old videos as well. I've got some interesting topics there. If you want to donate for my channel and support my mission, you could do that by accessing the link in the comments or the description. If not, that's completely fine. Every single way in which you support me by commenting, liking, or the others are counting in as a huge gift for me, and I am very grateful for it. It's something of a treasure box of sorts when I'm looking at the comment section, and I can always go back there and say, if I'm feeling down in life, then I should be looking for that section, and everything starts to make sense back again. Um, a huge thanks for that. It's my honor to read for you. Thank you so much. Hope to see you in the future readings. Bye.